Let's do this thing. Well, folks, welcome to the Power Sport Academy. It's Friday, August 7th. I don't come in live a terrible amount of times doing this whole thing with the Power Sport Academy. I probably should do more. It's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock today, we were scheduled to actually lead training for another organization. But they didn't have any dealers that wanted to train their staff. And so we canceled that event. We rolled that up and we'll relaunch that another time. We'll give dealers, another opportunity to train their staff. But this drives me back to what I've been seeing for over a decade. So, we can go back to 2007, 2008. I was consulting with a couple of dealers. I had written the book 2007. I'd written that book, Service Writing in Black and White. That book was not written to be sold. Okay, bear with me here. The primary reason for writing that book was to clear stuff out of my head. It wasn't thinking I was going to sell thousands of books. But we did. Oh, I moved my bookshelf. Hold on. Oh. It's this book right here. So I keep a few on hand. Sometimes I sign them and give them away, stuff like that. It's a small book. It's tiny. It was just to exercise my brain. It was just to get some thoughts out. And this book is what led to a training career with Ducati, with Suzuki, with BRP, with consulting with folks through Polaris and Victory, if we remember those, right? I was a coach with Harley Davidson Riders Edge program. I was a Motorcycle Safety Foundation coach. I was an AMA sanctioned road race instructor. There's so many opportunities in power sports where I got to offload some of my information for other people. And the results have been astounding. For instance, when I was at Ducati and I put together their fixed operations management curriculum, we started to track some things, right? Because when you're a corporate trainer, you got to figure out what's in it for them, right? So who's paying the bill? In that case, Ducati was paying the bill. What's in it for them? We had to figure out how is Ducati gonna see or acknowledge a financial benefit from the training that we're giving. And we had tracked how many parts each dealership was buying, right? So how many OEM parts is each dealership buying prior to training and then after training? And what we were able to deduce was there was roughly a 47% increase in business for each of the dealers that took our training, on average. So some dealers, 300% increase in service sales. Amazing. Now, as service got better and better, what happened in sales? Sales got better and better, right? Departments started working well together. The parts department's working with the service department. The service department's actually prepping bikes for the sales department. Things are starting to happen and work. We saw so many cool things. We saw dealerships that were have a service writer that's the service manager and the writer, that awkward space, right? That mom and pop size store where it's grown a little bit. They've added a couple of brands to the showroom, but they haven't committed to headcount yet. And so they've got this person that's the service writer, also the service manager. I think about when back in the day, way back in the day, I was the service manager at Twin Peaks Power Sports in Colorado. How many brands did Bill and Judy have? I think they had 9 or 10 brands. I'm trying to remember. That's when Triumph had made their comeback, right? So we're a bit 97, 98. And so thinking back to Bill and Judy and Twin Peaks Power Sports, I think they had 9 or 10 brands, all those brands. And there I am with 2 mechanics and me running the whole service department. When I first took that job, Rich Pasco was the technician, and Rich Pasco had worked full time for King Soopers at night in the warehouse. And then he came to work every day and worked full time at the motorcycle dealership. And that was something that stuck with me. That was something that really bothered me. And so, Rich would say, man, I might have to quit. I don't know how long I can keep this up. And I've been at King Soopers for 12 years or whatever. It was a long time, 12 years, 14 years, something like that. And he's like, I've been at King Soopers for a long time, but I really like working on motorcycles. I've always wanted to work on motorcycles. I just can't afford it. I can't, and we would look and what's happening here? Why is this shop like this? And I had taken over the shop from another service manager who was not a stupid person. I got to be like really clear about this. Not a dumb person, a good person, but did not have that business savvy, that business training, the efficiency training that comes with certain things. And so when I went in there, I was like, well, let's take a look at some of our processes. How are we booking our time? How are we scheduling appointments? How are we ordering parts? How are we prepping motorcycles properly so the technician can maximize their flat rate dollar, right? How are we optimizing our warranty submissions so that we get all of the money that Kawasaki would owe us, or we get all of the money that Suzuki would owe us? Not just pick the job that Kawasaki says, right? Not just pick the job that, here's the labor operation code, right? The labor operation code, we had to take half the motorcycle apart. What's the labor operation code for taking half the motorcycle apart? Give me that code. So we dove in deeper and we said, oh, wait a minute. We're missing this diagnostic code where here's the repair code, here's the test drive code, here's the right. And then our warranty tickets started to look like real tickets instead of burdens, right? A lot of times a shop will see a warranty repair as a burden and they don't realize it's a profit center. It's a profit center just like customer pay. It's just we have to examine the process from a customer vendor relationship instead of thinking we work for the OEMs. So I'm just giving you some highlights here. This is how this all grew. And I feel like this is important to say at this stage because we are, I can't believe that we're more than 10 years in. We're more than 10 years in with me training dealers. And I'm just going to say it. I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock that dealer principals will hop on an airplane, go to Vegas, swirl around some glass and whiskey in a glass and talk to 10 other dealers or 19 other dealers, right? It's a 20 club. So they'll talk to 19 other dealers about their spreadsheets and this number's up and this number's down and this is what we're going to do this year. And they high five and shake hands and fly back home. They'll do that. They love doing that, right? I get that. Like part of being the boss is that, you get to participate in these types of events. Like I get that that's a thing, but there's another side of the thing. You'll invest in improving yourself. You might take a leadership seminar. You might take a communication seminar. You might take a how to invest your profits seminar. You might, go down the old Lemco ways, right? How can we lean this puppy out and squeak out more pennies? But the low-hanging fruit, the lowest hanging fruit is just training your people. Train your people. I'm more than 10 years in with this dealership training stuff. It's the same. Before I got into power sports and working at the level of power sports I'm in now, I did automotive. So when I worked in automotive, Audi, Volkswagen, Ford, Lincoln, Mercury. If you remember the brands like AMC, I worked with AMC back in the day. AMC, Jeep, Eagle, Pontiac, Chevrolet. I think I already said Ford, Lincoln, Mercury. I worked with all these brands. And then I went to power sports. And then there's this thing called the Fixed Operations Roundtable. And that's in the automotive field. It's an organization. So I thought, oh my God, I've been gone for 10 years. I'm sure everything's going to change. I'm sure I've fallen behind. You know what? I'm going to attend. I'm going to go to this event, the Fixed Operations Roundtable, and I'm just going to see what improvements there are that I've missed in automotive service management. Honestly, that's what I thought. I signed in. It was a Zoom call. I signed in, and there's a room full of dudes in this thing, and they are talking about and complaining about and discussing the same things that were wrong the 10 years that I had been in the business before. I didn't miss a lick. I mean, it was instantaneous. It made me think to myself, I thought I was due to rewrite the book. I'm not due to rewrite the book. People got to read the dang book. I wrote the book on service advising and running a service department. There's a follow-up book that goes with this. It's service writing in black and white, and then there's service writing in the gray, how we actually negotiate through the gray areas of service management. It's absolutely remarkable to me that all of this time has passed and ownership, and I'm pointing the finger, ownership still won't pay to train their people. I don't know what the obstacle is. I wish I knew what the magic obstacle was. I would fix it for you. I have tried pain point marketing. I have tried features and benefits marketing. I have tried adjusting the prices. I've offered it for next to free. I've offered it for big dollars. Currently, right now, in the Powersport Academy, we'll train your whole dealership for $45,000 a year. That is remarkable. Because think of what I said at the beginning of this. When I was with Ducati and we did a 2-day workshop, the average shop went up 47% in parts and labor sales. 47%. So if you're doing a business now that's $1 million a year in fixed operations business, and you knew it was going to go up an average of 47% after training, and that was a 2-day workshop. Now we're talking, we'll train your people for a year. We'll train them for a year. So you should see at least a 50% increase, right? So that's an extra $500,000. So if you can't spend 45 grand to make 500,000, there's something wrong with your mathing. Your mathing isn't working. When we visit and audit dealerships, when we go on the road and we go and we see service writers answer the phone, when we see service writers greet customers on the service drive, when we hear service writers try to sell a job that a technician has recommended, we are consistently blown away. We're like, where is the basic communication training? Like basics, like introduce yourself on the phone. We actually have a course in the Powersport Academy that is how to use the phone as an effective sales tool. How to use the phone as an effective sales tool. Sounds rudimentary, sounds silly. Go visit your service department and listen to your people talk on the phone. And then ask yourself, could this person use some training maybe to influence people to make better purchases, better decisions? I'm not saying we need to lie to customers or rip customers off or find different tricks to trick customers. No, what I'm saying is we need to meet customers where they're at. We need to give them the options, let them make the good decisions, right? Give them the information so they can make a better decision and create that revenue and that relationship with our service department so that we can recycle them and bring them back through sales when they want to upgrade. I am just consistently blown away at this. Dealers will invest in themselves for training. Secondary investment would be if it was strictly for sales training. If I said, hey, the Powersport Academy helps sales departments sell 10 more units a year, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm in. Oh my God, yeah, how do I sign up for that? And I'm like, if you're selling 20 units a month and you sold one more unit a month, that's a 5% growth. And you would be all over that. You would be like, oh my God, it's sales training. We got to do it. We're going to sell more units. We're going to sell at least a unit a month. And you'd be like, it's totally worth it. How is it totally worth it? I mean, what is your margin on a new unit? When I worked for Suzuki, if someone sold a GSX-R 250 at retail, they made $149. I mean, I'm just being real. I'm just pointing out the obvious, right? Look at dealer cost, look at MSRP. You're $149. So if you're going to sell one more unit a month, how would that make any sense? A 5% increase in unit sales through sales doesn't really equal a whole lot of margin, does it? Now, I understand you're going to run people through F&I, you've got PAC, you've got all these things. And so you've got ways to, fictionalize more revenue. I get that. But let's not lose sight of what fixed operations does for you and the margins that are available in fixed operations and how we're not training people to meet and greet customers, to properly overview a vehicle so you can recommend, recommended work, how to review a repair order with a customer, not so they feel pressured to buy something today, but so we drop the seed and they understand what's going to be recommended on the next visit. When a customer comes in, let's say they're riding an R1200 BMW, if they know that they're going to need brakes in the next visit or maybe the one after that, then they know, oh, this is going to be another, I already know before I take it in for service this time, they're probably going to hit me up for the brakes at $300 to $500. Like I know I'm going to have to be prepared to spend that. So meet customers where they're at, build that relationship and tell them, hey, you know what? Everything looks great this visit. You're probably going to need brakes next visit, just so you know. And we sow that seed, and so you're ready for that. So when they come in, they go, yeah, I'm ready for another service. You know what? Last time you told me I was probably going to need brakes. If I need them this time, just go ahead and do it. Like, that's the relationship you want to have with your clients. And when people go through the Power Sport Academy training, that is the relationship they have with their clients, right? We help repair communication and leadership inside your business. That restores your internal culture. Your technicians aren't threatening to push their toolboxes every 2 weeks, right? They actually want to work there. You don't have a hard time, filling the bench for people to replace technicians that leave, because you become the shop that everyone wants to work at. When people go through the Power Sport Academy training, there's a difference. The internal culture increases to a point that people want to work for you. News gets around, like, this is a cool place to work. This is a fun place to be. You know what? They got work. I'm making money there. Like, when people have those conversations, they get inspired, and then it becomes a better thing. Now, what does a happy staff do? A happy staff makes happy customers. So if we improve the internal culture of the dealership, communication, leadership, internal culture, all that's falling into place. We're having better relationships with our consumers. We're communicating better. We're sowing more seed. We're making better harvest. We're making more money. So now we have efficiency, proficiency, and profit. All that stuff is coming together. What does that equal? Happy service department, happy customers, more referrals. It funnels back up to sales. Now sales is selling more units. But it doesn't happen if you don't train your people. And if you're an owner and you think you're going to go to a 4 or 5 day, or maybe you're going to do an extended weekend and you're going to go to Austria. Let's say you're going to do a trip to Austria and you're going to spend a week there and you're going to tour KTM. You're going to do a couple things and you're going to do a couple of workshops in between with the other dealers on this trip. Yeah, it's a great experience. I'm not taking that away from you. It's a great experience. But when you get back to the dealership, how do you physically, practically offload that experience to your staff? You don't. You just expect everybody to work harder, work faster, and bolster those numbers on the spreadsheet that you were clinking around in your glass having a discussion about. That's not reality. That doesn't happen. And so unless you are an intuitive, trainer, coach, speaker on your own that, coincidentally also owns a motorcycle dealership, unless that's you, you're not coming back from training or from events or from 20 club meetings, rounding your people up and saying, hey, here's what we're going to do different over the next 30, 60, 90 days. And we're going to try a couple of different things. We're going to monitor the growth and the changes. And then we're going to tweak things a little bit and we're going to keep pushing. Right? That's why the training at the Power Sport Academy is a year. It's monthly assignments, monthly live sessions, access to our static courses online as a resource. And over the course of a year, we build your service manager and service writers into a professional administrative team that your staff loves to work with. And why do they love to work with them? Because it's efficient, because it's informative, because it's profitable, because people can go Christmas shopping for their kids at the end of the year. It's simple stuff. But if you don't train them, they don't know. And I'm not here to tell you that your staff is stupid. Your service writers aren't dumb. Your service managers aren't stupid. Your technicians aren't lazy, right? We think that sometimes because of the results that we see, but we see the results that we see because we haven't invested in training them. if we just tell them specifically what to do or explain the cause and effect of how we interact with other people, if we actually have the training and the discussions around these things, we will see growth that we can't imagine. Now, COVID was our chance to fix the industry. It really was. I knew way back then, you could go back through the old blog posts in the Powersport Academy. I knew the supply chain was going to break. I forecasted it with a blog post. I knew that the supply chain was going to be broken. I knew the warehouses were laying off and closing things down. I knew that there would be higher demand. Why? Because if you take away all the family group activities, all of a sudden doing stuff by yourself was cool again. Twisting the throttle was awesome. This was our chance. COVID was our chance to reboot the power sport industry like it was prior to the economic decline 2008, 2009. We blew it. As an industry, we blew it. We can go back and we could, do a forensics on this. We could look at people like Mark Sheffield that were preaching very much out of the same book as I was. We could go back and look at, I had a thing, I told you I got involved in a thing called the Fixed Operations Roundtable. I had a thing called the Power Sports Roundtable. I saw so much promise in the Fixed Operations Roundtable in the automotive field. I saw so much promise in that. I said, oh my God, you know what? I'm going to make this volunteer organization. I'm going to call it the Power Sports Roundtable. I'm going to put a group of experts together and we are going to volunteer on this thing and we're going to pour into the industry and we're just going to help everybody get better. A rising tide rises all ships. And you know what happened? We did one event. A few people participated, not many. Like I think Scott Harden called in. I was amazed. Like Scott's a nice guy. He called in. But barely any participation. And then the other people that I thought we were going to kick into this thing, like Motorcycle Industry Jobs, Dealer Lead Pro, help me, the CR Gittery thing, Service Writer Pro, Service Manager Pro, right? Service Manager Pro. All of these things were coming together and they were forming like this. Hey, this one's training. This one's, employment. This one is CRM and lead capture. And I thought, wow, we get all these experts together and we have this, round table, this panel that can help people no matter where they're at. It's going to be amazing. Nobody participated. Nobody wanted to do it. Everyone just disconnected. We did one event. Everybody got to talk for 45 minutes or an hour. We did kind of a little round table discussion. I thought it was fantastic. We created a whole course load out of it and nobody participated. And I thought to myself, well, is it because it was free? Because, things that are free, people don't value, right? If you don't pay for it, you don't value it. And so when I first launched the Powersport Academy, I did it super affordably, right? Like, okay, I'll do it super affordably, and we'll make it so it's easy for dealers to sign up. Nobody signed up. And so then we reached out to some dealers that I knew, that I was friends with. I said, take this, give me your feedback, let me know what you think. Oh my God, Kurt, the training's amazing. It's great. We're already making more money. Really? How come you weren't customers before? Well, my boss wouldn't have paid for it because it was too cheap. It was so cheap, you would assume that it sucks. It's got to hurt a little bit in order for a dealer to want to pay for it and see value in it. I said, oh my God, that's a wake-up call. So we raised the price. So if you're wondering why it's $45,000 to train a dealership for a whole year, it's because we got to make it hurt a little bit or no one's going to sign up and actually do the work. So I need dealers to pay the 45 grand so that when a service writer doesn't do their homework or when a service manager doesn't submit something on time, I can email the owner and say, hey, just to let you know, your guys are falling a little bit behind. This is where we're at so far. And the dealer owner's going to be like, I paid 45 grand for that. Someone's going to do the frickin' homework and it's going to happen. And through the process, they're going to double their service business. It sounds like hyperbole, but if you go to the Powersport Academy homepage right now, you're going to see that it says, hey, pick up that $1 million laying on the floor. And that's 100% true to me. There's so much low-hanging fruit at these dealerships with the lack of training and the lack of investment in staff. There's so many possibilities where I can go into a dealership and I can say, do this, change this, move this over here, put that. Okay, we went into one dealership, and I'm not lying. Their batteries for prepping PDIs were totally mismanaged, and they sold 300 units a month. We did the math. It took them 45 minutes to find the right battery for a Kawasaki that had been sold by sales, and it was supposed to deliver the same day. And the battery wasn't filled or charged or anything, right? And so 45 minutes he spent on that, plus, plus the battery's not going to be charged properly. Plus it's going to, it's going to be a warranty repair in 10 months. And then, it's going to get declined on warranty repair because batteries don't go bad in 10 months. And the Kawasaki's going to deny the claim. Like, we went through the whole thing. I said, if you just change your process on receiving these units and taking out the batteries and storing them properly, pre-charged for PDIs, you're going to eliminate giving away free batteries after 10 months of ownership when the batteries aren't charged properly. So that goes away. Now you've got happier customers and you've eliminated that expense altogether, right? Altogether, that expense is gone. Can you even guess how much money a set of shelves and an Ultimo battery charger would save that dealership? $46,000 a year. I mean, not a year, a month. $46,000 a month. Remember, I said they delivered 300 units a month. So if they're spending an extra 220, 230 hours a month trying to find, locate, and charge batteries that are misplaced, that's huge opportunity loss. Huge. It comes out to about $46,000 a month. Now, account for seasonality of a business. Let's say we're not going to count 12 months. Let's just say 10 months. Let's say 10 months of that bleeding loss is eliminated. That's $460,000 a year. Now, remember what I said. If your business was doing, $1 million a year and you increase by a certain percentage, now you do an extra $500,000 a year. Boom, just like that, right? This was training a dealership. One instance out of all the training was $460,000 a year that we helped save that business. Now, they were prepping 300 units a month. They had a busy service department. They had a manager, a service writer. They had 4 technicians. I mean, obviously, they're doing more than $1 million in revenue a year, right? But if we are going to inject, $460,000 on that, $520,000 on another thing, $247,000 on a third thing. At the end of the year, they're up $1.4 million in revenue. It's crazy. So I'm going to end it with this. You know why I'm here. I'm here because I run the Power Sport Academy. I'm here because we're available to help train your staff to get these numbers that I've been talking about. What I need you to do, your call to action in this video, is if you're not the dealership owner, like, share, and follow with the dealer owner. Like, share, and follow for a dealer owner. Like, get me in front of an owner of a dealership. Next thing, if you're the owner of a dealership, go to powersportacademy.com, and sign up. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.